What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be going over pros and cons of outsourcing. So for everybody that doesn't know what outsourcing means, outsourcing is basically just hiring out of your company. So these people, when you outsource, these people don't work directly for you. They're not like on payroll. You're just outsourcing sometimes a company or just a freelancer to do work for your company. So let's get right into it. Number one, I'm gonna start with the pros. Pro number one, it's usually more affordable, right? So depending on what kind of business you're doing, it's most of the time it's gonna be more affordable just because of the fact that you don't have to train, you don't have to spend time with them physically to get them up to speed for anything that you need, because usually when you outsource, it's you're outsourcing usually to a professional company or a professional freelancer that already knows exactly what they're doing in whatever field or task you want them to do. So usually, most of the time, is going to be more affordable to hire. Also, because you're able to hire from different parts, different states, different countries. So let's say you're living, like myself, I'm in either New Jersey or Florida, especially New Jersey. Well, right now, everywhere. It's pretty much, inflation in the US. Inflation is going on all over the world, but the economy is so different from, let's say you're outsourcing to a place like India, or Pakistan, or South America even, I've had workers from, Argentina, Peru, Colombia, that, $1,000 there, it's gonna get you, a person that here might cost you $4,000, $5,000 a month. So usually it's gonna be a lot more affordable. Another pro, the onboarding process. When you're hiring somebody that's gonna come into your team and your company, usually onboarding takes some time, them getting used to the place, getting used to the people, getting used to the work, just getting used to everything, training, etc. You're gonna spend a lot of time on that, which also is another expense, but most importantly, it's time, and it's, if that person doesn't work out, you have to do it all over again. So the onboarding process, it's a lot easier usually. Number three, you have global access, right? So when you're looking for to hire somebody in your team, for the most part, unless they're doing remote work, you're gonna look locally. And when you're looking local, it's not gonna be as easy as finding, it's gonna be a bigger net if you go and try to look for people globally. So it's a lot easier to access just a lot more people. Number four, you have potentially no downtime, right? And again, this goes back to the easy onboarding, but also since if one person does not work out, you can just automatically look for another person, and it's easier, faster because of the onboarding process. You technically have no downtime, which for most businesses, well, I would say every business, no downtime is a very, very important thing to not have, no downtime. So those are the biggest pros when it comes to outsourcing for a business. Now I'm gonna go over the cons. And at the end of this video, I'll share my full perspective on outsourcing. But for now, I'm just gonna talk about pros and cons. So number one, the cons, communication, right? So communication can become an issue when it comes to outsourcing, because whether it's cultural, or language barrier communication issue, or just communication as far as like, your things are getting lost in translation through emails, text, etc. Because a lot of times when you're outsourcing, you're most likely contacting these people through email or text or voice notes, etc. it's a lot harder than talking to somebody, or a lot harder to get your message across when you don't have this person in front of you, or at least for most people, it's kind of like difficult to do that. So I would say that's a con. Another con is going to be lack of focus, right? And this doesn't really apply to everybody, but I have seen it ever since I started hiring out, outsourcing, that with some people, there could be a lack of focus, but at the same time, this is something that also happens, somebody in your team can have, a lack of focus. But when you're not physically there, sometimes there could be a lack of focus. And on the other side, there could also be a lack of focus on your side, because since you don't have this person in front of you, you're not necessarily thinking about these people all the time. You're just assuming that the work is getting done. So your focus might not be on them anymore, and you're gonna just take your focus out of there. And that's something that's bad, because when you have somebody on your team, whether you're outsourcing them or not, being on top of what they're doing and being on top of the tasks that need to be done, it's a big thing and something that you have to stay on top of. So that's a big con, lack of focus. Another big one that I have seen, and this is actually gonna obviously vary depending on the business you have, but privacy issues, right? With a lot of businesses online, you're gonna have to share passwords. You're gonna have to share logins. You're gonna have to share a lot of information that might be very sensitive. And when you share this with other companies, a lot of people are scared that they might steal information, they might steal customers, they might steal a lot more than that. So there's a lot of privacy issues. So that's another con. But when it comes to outsourcing, just like if you hire somebody on your team, it's always good to get their information, make sure, you're getting, obviously their ID and all, stay up with all the legal aspects of it, because when you're outsourcing, a lot of times we forget to do that. So if you're not using a platform, if you're not going through a platform, make sure that you have everything in place that these people can be held liable for, any mistakes, especially when it comes to privacy. So those are all the cons I have. Full disclosure, I believe that in order to grow and scale your businesses, you have to, number one, be open to outsourcing, because that's going to be key in growing and scaling your business. So I've been doing a lot of videos where I'm talking about scaling and growing your business, and I'm talking about the mindset, right? And same thing with outsourcing. Myself, personally, I used to be against outsourcing because I always wanted everybody to be in my office, in my building, and work through there. But the truth is that as you grow and you experience some of these things, outsourcing companies, outsourcing work, you realize that there's so many benefits to it. All the benefits that I talked about, I think that really outweigh the cons, because you're just scaling so much faster, you're learning so much faster, and honestly, it also gives you the mentality that you need in order to bring your business to another level, right? So every lesson that you get or from the cons, actually it's what's going to help you to drive your business further and further, right? And scale your business higher and higher, because they're just things that you have to learn, and you kind of learn them, and I believe you learn them faster when you outsource. So that's my take on outsourcing. My businesses wouldn't be where they're at now if I wasn't open to outsourcing and I didn't try it. Like in the beginning when I was close to it, and I was scared that people would steal my business plan, with people would steal, all my ideas and all that, and I kind of had like a scarcity mindset. That was for a very short period of time, but once I got over that, that's when I really was able to like scale different businesses and just grow a lot faster, at a rate that I would have never thought. There's some businesses that grew at a crazy rate that it would have never happened if I didn't outsource. So that's my take on outsourcing. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Make sure you guys like the video. If you guys want me to talk about anything else, comment, and I'll see you guys on the next one.